Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely transform the way you talk about your daily routine. If you've been relying on standard vocabulary, words like waking up, getting ready, and working, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to upgrade your language into the colorful, advanced idioms that native English speakers actually use to describe their messy, unpredictable real lives. You know, there's a huge difference between that stiff, basic textbook English we all learn and the highly visual, descriptive phrases that will truly elevate your daily conversations. Native speakers rarely stick to textbook words when talking about their day. Instead, they rely heavily on metaphors and vivid imagery that paint a really precise picture of how they're feeling, both physically and mentally. Mastering these expressions isn't just about sounding more natural. It's about being able to express the actual, real emotion behind your daily routine.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're taking a chronological journey through a full 24-hour day, starting with the morning struggle, moving right into navigating the workday, tackling that dreaded afternoon slump, winding down, going to sleep, and finally, summarizing your day.
Section 1. The morning struggle. Let's start right at the very beginning of the day, where, honestly, just waking up can often be the absolute hardest part of our entire routine.
Okay, so when someone wakes up incredibly early, we're talking 4 or 5 a.m., they are up at the crack of dawn. Think about what a crack actually is. The crack represents that very first, tiny opening of sunlight that breaks through the dark night sky. It's such a powerful visual for an insanely early start.
But let's be real, most of us are not waking up at the crack of dawn. If you aren't an early bird, you probably drag yourself out of bed, which brilliantly captures the extreme physical effort of moving. Imagine your own body feels like a massive, heavy box that you literally have to pull out of the blankets. When you finally stand up, you likely feel groggy. That's a fantastic advanced word for that slow, confused state where your eyes just won't open all the way and your brain is, well, only half awake.
So there's a massive contrast between the two main ways people start their mornings. If you're groggy, you probably prefer to ease into the day. That means starting super slowly, maybe just sitting quietly and drinking tea without even checking your phone. But then, on the complete opposite side, you have people who hit the ground running. Imagine jumping out of a helicopter and sprinting the exact second your boots touch the dirt. That is what it means to wake up, check your list, and attack your first task right away.
Take a quick second to map this vocabulary to your own life. Knowing your own rhythm really helps lock these advanced phrases into your memory. Are you a tea-sipping, ease-into-it person, or are you a helicopter-jumping, hit-the-ground-running type?
Section 2. Navigating the workday. Let's see how our vocabulary builds as we enter this busy and often highly metaphorical office environment. Native speakers use some amazing physical metaphors for their workflow states. You don't just say, "I'm busy." No way. If you have water up to your knees and you're trudging through the heavy mud of your workload, you're swamped. If your work acts like actual ropes keeping you trapped in a meeting, you're tied up. But if you're experiencing that perfect, distraction-free bubble of absolute concentration, you are beautifully in the zone.
Of course, that perfect bubble can pop pretty easily. If you find yourself stuck on a frustrating task, you might get bogged down. Now, a bog is another muddy, wet area of land. So for example, if you spend an entire hour fixing the minor formatting on a really simple email instead of doing your actual work, you are getting heavily bogged down by the details.
And obviously not everyone works at a desk. For those outside the office, like salespeople, delivery drivers, or busy parents, the vocabulary shifts completely. You're on the go, constantly moving from place to place, maybe even inhaling a quick sandwich in your car. And you spend your day running errands. Notice the verb here. We don't do errands, we run errands, whether it's picking up groceries, hitting the post office, or grabbing medicine.
Section 3. The afternoon slump. Let's dive right into that very specific, totally exhausting feeling that hits almost everyone midway through the day.
Right around 3 p.m., you might hit the dreaded afternoon slump. A slump is a sudden, heavy drop in energy where your brain feels totally foggy and you honestly just want a nap. The best cure is often a quick walk outside, which helps you achieve our next idiom, catching a second wind. Now, this isn't literal wind, it's a metaphor for getting a sudden, fresh wave of energy that helps you power through and finish those last few hours strong.
Section 4. Winding down. At this point in the evening decompression phase, we need to officially declare the workday over, a phrase native speakers call calling it a day. Once you've actually called it a day, it's time to relax. But advanced speakers don't just say relax. They unwind. Think of a ball of string that has been pulled incredibly tight all day long by the stress of work. When you unwind, you are metaphorically loosening up that tight string of stress so your mind and your muscles can become soft and relaxed again.
Along those same lines, we use the word decompress. Imagine letting the hard, pressurized air out of a really tight balloon. You're releasing the pressure of a hard day. And this pairs perfectly with the literal and figurative action of putting your feet up. Whether you are literally kicking your feet up onto the coffee table or just mentally deciding that you're done with chores for the night, putting your feet up means the work is completely over.
Now, listening to me is great, but to truly lock these in, you have to practice. You can use an AI tool, like the Mr. English AI Smart Assistant, to practice chatting about your daily routine. It's just a brilliant way to get instant, friendly, and totally stress-free feedback on whether you used phrases like bog down or unwind correctly in your sentences.
Section 5. Going to sleep. Let's transition to the final phase of our day and describe the physical reality of finally going to bed after being on the go and running errands all day long.
When you are utterly, bone-deep exhausted, you don't just say you're tired. You say you're totally wiped out. It's an incredibly descriptive visual. Imagine someone taking a giant eraser and completely erasing every last drop of your energy. Your battery is at absolute zero. And hey, fun fact, you can even feel wiped out after a lazy Sunday of doing absolutely nothing.
When you finally hit the pillow, you might be out like a light. Think of a bright lamp. You flip the switch, and boom, it goes dark instantly. Falling asleep the literal second your head touches the pillow is being out like a light. But sadly, sometimes our brains just refuse to turn off, leading to tossing and turning. This is that agonizing act of rolling from left to right constantly, moving the blankets, flipping the pillow, all while your brain tortures you with completely embarrassing memories from 10 years ago.
Section 6. Summarizing your day. Let's wrap up this explainer by looking at how you can summarize your entire 24 hours to a friend or coworker using some high-level adjectives.
So, when someone asks, "How was your day?" instead of simply saying it was good or busy, you can paint a much clearer picture. If your day was crazy, packed with errands, and you were running around constantly, call it hectic. It means busy, but in a chaotic, slightly stressful way. On the flip side, what if absolutely nothing interesting happened? You can call it uneventful. An uneventful day means no big events, zero drama, and no stress, which frankly is sometimes exactly the blessing you need to recharge your batteries. As we wrap up this explainer, take a moment to reflect on all the advanced, messy, real-life vocabulary you've learned today. From hitting the ground running to getting bogged down, catching a second wind, and finally calling it a day. Think about your own schedule right now and ask yourself, will your tomorrow be frantically hectic or beautifully uneventful? Keep practicing, and I'll see you in our next explainer.